All right, if everyone can take their seats, please. We're going to go ahead and get started with tonight's forum. Okay. Good to go? All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the District 5 Fresno City Council Candidate Forum. My name is Blake Zanti, the Executive Director of the Maddie Institute. I'll be serving as tonight's moderator. I first and foremost would like to thank Butler Church for allowing us to host this forum tonight at their facility. We're very appreciative. This forum is organized by a coalition of community organizations, including the Youth Leadership Institute, the League of Women Voters, Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability, Fresno Building Healthy Communities, and the Maddie Institute. As nonpartisan organizations, we are committed to facilitating a fair and respectful conversation, and we ask for everyone's cooperation in maintaining that environment tonight. All candidates were extended an invitation to participate in tonight's forum. Before we begin, a few housekeeping items. Restrooms are located in the back of the sanctuary. Translation services in Spanish, Hmong, and Punjabi are available. If you need interpretation assistance, please see Maria and the interpretation team in the lobby area. We also have a children's area located to the side of the sanctuary where children can enjoy coloring and quiet activities during the forum. Also, if you'd rather not be photographed, you may proceed to the lobby for a green lanyard. A few reminders for the audience. We ask that everyone maintain and remain respectful throughout the event. Please do not boo, hiss, cheer, or interrupt candidates while they are speaking. Signs supporting or opposing candidates are not permitted during the forum. Audience members may submit written questions at the table located in the back of the room. Our team will review submissions and select questions based on the relevance and time. Unfortunately, not all questions may be asked tonight. Now for the candidates, thank you for being here, candidates. We're so grateful that you're here. This is a candidate forum, not a debate, so rebuttals will not be permitted tonight. We ask that candidates try to avoid personal attacks and remain focused on the issues. If a candidate begins attacking another candidate personally, I will redirect them back to the question, and additional time will not be provided. Questions tonight will be asked by our facilitators who are sitting here tonight. We'll introduce them in just a moment. Each question includes a designated response time, and candidates are asked to keep responses concise, please. Our timekeepers will provide a 30-second warning and a 15-second warning. When time is up, the timekeepers will ring a bell to indicate that the time has lapsed. I will enforce time limits to ensure fairness and keep us on schedule, and candidates will have an opportunity to provide a closing statement at the end of the forum. So thank you again for being here tonight, candidates. At this time, I'd like to introduce our facilitators and timekeepers for this evening. Our facilitators are Youth Lead Margaret Yang from Building Healthy Communities and Marianne Cast with the League of Women Voters. Thank you both for being here tonight to facilitate. Our youth timekeeper tonight is Atzel from FUSD Latino Student Union and Building Healthy Communities, alongside Giovanna from the Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability staff. Thank you tonight for being here. Now we'll move into candidate introductions. Candidates, would you please introduce yourselves and share how long you've lived in your district? Each candidate will have 30 seconds for introductions. And thank you, candidates, for those. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, and we'll go ahead and introduce. If you want to start with Mr. Vang, and then we'll move to the right over to Mr. Wildstar.
Thank you very much for being here tonight. I'm Fresno City Council member Brandon Vane. I am married, have been married to my wife for over 30 years. Together we have 5 children. 4 of them are adults, and we still have a 14-year-old with us. I live in the same house for the last 17 years in District 5, and I am a proud graduate of McLean High School. And so it is an honor to be here tonight with everybody here, and I look forward to have an engaging discussion with my 2 opponents here. And I believe we are missing one as well, but I'm glad to be here tonight. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Councilmember Vang. Thank you. We'll go to Mr. Barraza next.
Jose Leon, Jose Leon Barraza. I'm the former Director of Economic Development for Fresno County. I'm currently a commissioner with the Parks and Recreation Department, And I have been the CEO of the Southeast Fresno Community Economic Development Association for 14 years, and I was a founder of that organization, and I live down the street. So this is my neighborhood, and thanks very much to the organizers, and I won't list them, but for bringing the candidates to the grassroots, the community.
Thank you,
where
Mr.
we can
Barraza.
talk about the issues.
Thank you. I know that everyone, there's a lot to say, but don't worry, we'll have plenty of time to be able to expand on your platforms later on. We'll now go to Mr. Wildstar.
Hello, everyone, and good evening. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you to the organizations for having me. My name is Nickolas Wildstar. I am a native of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've lived in California for almost 25 years. For the past 6 years, I've lived in Fresno. I have a son who's 6, and I'm just a hardworking resident of Fresno. I've been committed to political activism for the past 15 years, and tonight I will be expounding on that experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, candidates, for those introductions. We'll now move into our first section of questions focused on civic leadership and community trust. Our facilitators, Margaret Yang and Marianne Cast, will guide us through this portion of the forum. I'll now turn it over to you.
Thank you, Blake. We'll begin with questions focused on civic leadership and community trust. Candidates, please keep your responses within the allotted time, which we'll try to provide before each question. For this first question, you'll have 30 seconds each. And we'll start tonight with Mr. Barraza. What do you think is your most important role as a city council member? 30 seconds, please.
My most important role is to make sure that the district gets the resources that it deserves, that the needs of the residents are addressed, that we have unmet needs, for example, abandoned buildings. We have problems of specific plans that don't get approved. All those matters that are important to you, it's my role to be your representative and make sure things happen.
And Councilmember Vang, same question.
Thank you very much for the question. The most important role that a city council member can do is to listen to the constituents. And in the last 13 months that I've been in office, I've had 10 community listening tours / town hall, etc. And I have had 100 or so collaborated efforts with other community agencies in D5. And so listening to you is, I believe, the most important trait for a city council member. Thank you.
And Mr. Wildstar, same question.
Absolutely. I think the most important role for a city council member or for any elected official is to just be involved in the community. That's what I've done, again, for the past 15 years, getting involved in protests, rallies, cleaning up the streets, feeding the homeless. I also would like to improve government accountability. Our city has been riddled with scandals left and right, so my role as city council member will be to improve the public trust.
This next question, you'll have 60 seconds to answer. We'll start, Councilmember Vang, you'll be first here. What would you do during your first 90 days to restore and increase trust and confidence with Fresno residents, especially those neighborhoods that have been historically disenfranchised and left behind?
Exactly what I had done the first 90 days of my term, which is to be out there as visible. Visibility is important, to listen to every constituent, whether you're in the east side, the middle part, or the western part of District 5, for example. I make it my effort to go into Sequoia Middle School, Vane Powell Elementary, Ayers, Winchell, the high schools, Sanger West, Sunnyside, and Roosevelt High. And so what I have done the first 90 days of my first term, I will continue to do that, and that is to reach out to the community and to listen to the community and to collaborate with the community. And so it's just what I have repeated the first 3 months. If I am lucky enough to win, I would do the same thing. Continuation to serve the people.
And Mr. Wildstar, same question. Describe your first 90 days.
I will be very active in my first 90 days. I'll be introducing legislation for my fellow city council members to put public finances on the blockchain. That way, any public finances will be recorded electronically and made readily available to the public. I also will be introducing legislation to provide 3D homes to the homeless, and by improving my community with small needs. Public restrooms, more trash cans just available on the streets. Mist stations. It's getting very hot here in Fresno, and in the summertime it's going to get even more hot. So we need some public mist stations so everyone can keep cool.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
I think Mr. Yeah.
Excuse me. Mr. Barraza, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
Go ahead.
What would you do during your first 90 days to restore and increase trust and confidence with Fresno residents, especially those neighborhoods that have been historically disenfranchised and left behind?
The first thing I would do is make sure that the central specific plan for Southeast Fresno gets approved by the City Council. There have been 2 opportunities for the current incumbent to get approved, and it has not gotten approved. To me, that's a very high priority because it has a lot of good ideas on how to improve economic and physical conditions of Southeast Fresno, including addressing the issue of the abandoned buildings. Down the street, we have the IRS building has been vacant for a long time. We have down the other side of the street, the Hanoians Market that's been there forever. Also, we have the old Valley Medical Center where maybe some of you were born there. And that place has broken windows, a lot of blight, a lot of terrible conditions, a lot of homeless around it. So I would make sure that not only would I get the plan approved, but I also get the resources to implement it.
In this next question, we'll be talking about infrastructures and development. You'll each have 60 seconds to answer. Do you support SEDA, and what are your thoughts on its related infrastructure costs? Do you support standalones, smaller version of SEDA, like self-SEDA, and why? Mr. Wildstar, you'll be starting us.
The current plan as it stands, I do not support it. It's overambitious. I don't think that billions of dollars are needed in order to provide affordable housing, especially with the price tag like that. Once people move into those homes, most likely they're going to be expensive. So my plan is to provide 3D homes as a solution for affordable homes. 3D homes exist right now. The technology can build homes in less than a couple of days or a couple of weeks, opposed to projects taking months, if not years, to be completed. It could be done on a very small price tag, and that, again, is one of my first proposals once I'm a city council member.
Mr. Barraza, you'll be next. Yes.
Could you repeat the question? And I cannot hear you very well.
Well, do you support SEDA, and what are your thoughts on its related infrastructure costs? Do you support a standalone, smaller version of SEDA, like self-SEDA? Why?
I'm sorry, I cannot hear the portion of your question. I hear the lady in the middle, but I cannot hear your mic for some reason.
My mic.
I think Mr. Barraza, the question pertains to SEDA. Do you support SEDA? Okay. What are your thoughts on its related infrastructure costs?
Thank you. Thank you
and
very much.
Do you support a smaller standalone version of SEDA, like South SEDA?
I do not support SEDA. The main reason is that it's going to demand that a lot of the resources, they should go to other parts of the district, like the places where right here and down the street. The new urban development is going to require a lot of investment for infrastructure, sewer lines, police offices, schools, and a lot of other needs for the new population. I believe that more emphasis should be put on addressing the needs of Southeast Fresno in the older parts of the district, and then it will be possible then to talk about other growth opportunities.
Mr. Vang, you'll be next.
Thank you very much for the question, and I can hear you clearly. I do not support SEDA or any versions of SEDA, whether it is South SEDA, etc. This is a once-in-a-lifetime project if it comes to fruition, and it is a 9,000-acre project with about 45,000 homes, and that is huge that the taxpayers in District 5 may have to take the burden of that. And so I do not support SEDA as it is or in the foreseeable future. What I want to do is look at the infills. We have a lot of empty lots, empty spaces in District 5. We need to invest in the infills first and foremost before we look outward. And so the taxpayers that is living across from the brown spots, you want that brown spots to fill with green, with housing, before we move outside of the district, outside of the city. So I do not support SEDA nor SEDA South.
In this next question, you'll have 60 seconds each to answer. Communities like Kawa have long faced concerns around water contamination and air pollution. What specific policies, zoning, or investments would you prioritize to address these environmental challenges and ensure all Fresno residents have access to clean air and safe drinking water? Mr. Barraza, you'll be starting us.
I have a very hard time understanding. I hear an echo when you speak. My apologies, but I cannot. Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, I can. Communities like Kawa have long faced concerns around water contamination and air pollution. What specific policies, zoning, or investments would you prioritize to address these environmental challenges and ensure all Fresno residents have access to clean air and safe drinking water?
I'm sorry, I still cannot hear the first part of the question.
I'm sorry, Mr. Barraza. I'm not sure why. Maybe there's a sound issue on your end, but Margaret asked, communities like Kawa have long faced concerns around water contamination and air pollution. What specific policies, zoning, or investments would you prioritize to address these environmental challenges and ensure all Fresno residents have access to clean air and safe drinking water?
Thank you. That sounds much better. Okay. I think we have a lot of conditions, and we're talking about water, but we also have issues of air pollution. I think that what's necessary is that we continue to monitor the water quality, and that an investment be made to improve the quality of the water. And I'm talking about getting federal resources for the area. And I think anything that impacts and continue to monitor conditions of health of the residents to determine if the water is continuing to have an impact on residents.
Mr. Vang, you'll be answering the same question.
Thank you for the question. First and foremost, stop SEDA. Stop industrial growth in or next to District 5, because that will contribute to the water and air quality. I believe that water and air quality is a human right. It doesn't matter what your bank account number is. It doesn't matter what zip code you live in. It should be clean air for everybody and clean water for everybody. And so for me, to address that issue is not to contribute to that issue, meaning no more industrial growth in District 5 and no more big growth when it comes to environmental quality in District 5. And so I will continue to fight for the average person because I do not take special interest groups from the people like developers, etc.
Mr. Wildstar, you'll be answering the same question.
Thank you. Well, I think the best way to approach it is to include these third parties to actually conduct their own researches on our air quality, on our water quality, and use that as the information that we base our decisions on. I think there needs to be more regulation against businesses that do pollute our air and water, even if it goes as far as to banning them from being able to conduct business in the city. But one of my proposals is to build atmospheric water generators. These are literally machines that can take water out of the thin air and provide clean drinking water to the public. This would also improve the air quality as well. The more moisture in the air, the better air to breathe. So this is a newer technological way that I'll be approaching solving that issue.
These next questions have to do with housing and urban development. Councilmember Vang, you'll answer first. According to the city's housing element, more than 20% of renters are severely cost burdened, which impacts low-income renters the most. And there is a current shortage of affordable housing. What actions will you take to address cost burden and increase affordable housing units throughout the city to ensure access to healthy and affordable housing?
That hit me personally. I have a 30-year-old daughter who is living by herself, and she has a one-bedroom apartment paying at $1,800 a month. There is a housing crisis here in the city of Fresno, and to alleviate that, it's going to take decades for us to catch up. And so what I have done is work with the people who want to invest in District 5 to bring low-cost, affordable housing into District 5. Again, we have a lot of infills. We can utilize these space to ensure that housing, especially low-cost housing, is there to alleviate the housing crisis here in not only District 5, but in the city of Fresno. And it's going to take a long time, decades, in fact, to bring that up to the pre-COVID numbers. And so I plan to stay here for a while, for a long time, as a council member, if I'm lucky enough to be there, and to address this issue along with other issues that are concerning to all of us. Thank you.
Mr. Wildstar, same question.
Oh, Mr. Barraza, we'll go to Mr. Wildstar next. We'll go to Mr. Wildstar and then to you. I'm sorry, sir. Yes.
All right. Well, one thing that I think deserves attention is that these contractors are completely overregulated when it comes to them being able to build homes. So what I would like to do is cut the government red tape, get out of the way so these businesses can provide more homes to those in need. But I revert back to my idea of building 3D homes in Fresno. We can have a manufacturing facility here in Fresno to provide those 3D homes. Some models are less than $10,000. So for people that are seeking to buy a home, it'll be a lot more affordable than it is to buy a house right now in California. But having that manufacturing facility here in Fresno would actually provide jobs to those in need, and these would be high-paying jobs as well. So this will be my approach in resolving the affordable housing issue here in Fresno.
And finally, Mr. Barraza.
I think what's important is one of the tools the city of Fresno has to promote affordable housing is to give incentives in terms of the density. And it's already been done, but I think that could be expanded. I'm a licensed general contractor and I'm a licensed real estate broker, and I actually have built apartments myself. But I also would like to promote home ownership. There's something called down payment assistance program that's very helpful for young couples or new buyers to buy a home. I think it's important to, some people can afford a new home, some people cannot. But I think we should promote more home ownership so that they are building an equity in their investment on their first home.
This question also allows a 60-second answer. In light of current housing shortages, how would you balance addressing the issue with infill versus annexation to expand city boundaries? Mr. Barraza?
I used to participate in the MOU, and the tax sharing MOUs, the negotiation between the county and the city. And one of the things that had been determined before, and you know, in the general plan, there was an infill policy that we're supposed to grow from within. I think that we still have to promote that within our city, and that is that the vacant areas that we still have in Southeast Fresno be developed. Some very good tool that we have in place is what is called mixed-use zoning that allows residential close to businesses. It's very important that we rely less and less on the automobile, that we're able to walk to the stores, and so I would promote that in the city boundaries.
Councilmember Vang, same question.
Folks, is very simple. How I got to City Hall was that the average person, people like you, got me to City Hall, and so I can be that independent voice and not beholden to, for example, special interest groups like developers who want to pocket and who wants to grow their checkbooks. That's it. And so the infill is right across from here. That vacant lot has been there for a very long time. Attract people who can come into the infills to the city to develop these infills. Make incentives, like infill incentives for them to come, because Southeast Fresno is one of the best places to live. I've been here for 17 years, and I don't plan on living or moving the next 17 years. And so I'm here in the long term to represent you in any issues that you may have and to be your council member. Thank you.
Mr. Wildstar, same question.
Absolutely. I would definitely invest into more green spaces, more development of parks, dog parks, skate parks. I definitely feel like the people of Fresno could benefit from having the more green spaces available to them. Also, focus on unfinished infrastructure projects. Fresno is notoriously known for starting something and then not finishing it. So my focus would be on finishing those uncompleted projects first and foremost, as well as preserving those historical districts where they've been targeted for any infrastructure projects. But most importantly, I will be speaking with residents, making my door open, making myself available by way of telephone, email, town hall meetings, so we can find out more about what the community wants and needs.
This next group of questions has to do with transportation proposals, and 90 seconds is allowed for each response. We'll start with Councilmember Vang. A city-commissioned environmental health impact assessment found that South Fresno residents are more likely to live near major streets, truck routes, and freeways, exposing them to harmful air pollution linked to asthma, heart disease, preterm births, and other serious health issues. What strategies would you support to improve the health and quality of life of communities most impacted by freight traffic and highways?
Let's address the elephant in the room. No more Amazon-type, Ulta-type big companies coming into not only District 5, but to the city of Fresno, in particular in South Fresno. And that will destroy the quality of life here, not only in Southeast Fresno, but in South Fresno. Additionally, plant more trees, green space. We know that a city that is vibrant, a city that has more green space per capita is a healthier city. And at the end, everybody wins. Just imagine if we have a healthier city, there'll be less people suffering from asthma and any medical conditions relating to air pollution. And so in the long term, not only the people who, let's say in this case, Southeast or South Fresno will benefit, but the whole city. And in fact, the county of Fresno will benefit. And so for me, is to ensure that the parks will continue to grow, in addition to prevent any detrimental or any industries that will destroy or will minimize the the healthy community aspect of that. And so it has to be a tandem work. We are not only planning for what is best for the city, but also preventing what has destroyed certain parts of the city in terms of air pollution.
Mr. Wildstar, same question, asking about strategies that you would support to improve the health and quality of life.
Yes, I think the best way to reduce traffic from cars is to provide more public ways of public transportation. We could do that by expanding our current public bus system by providing more buses, more companies providing bus rides as well. We could build more bike lanes, trolley system, a railway system, providing electric scooters. I know they've been cracking down on electric scooter use on the campus of Fresno State, but our city itself could be providing those public scooters. I know there's some reluctance around self-driving cars, but they also would reduce the amount of people that are driving their own personal vehicles. So now people would have different modes of transportation to get around the city, and it would also reduce the amount of pollution that cars are putting out into our environment.
And finally, Mr. Barraza, same question.
I mentioned the tool of mixed-use zoning that allows that you live close to the shopping areas. It allows you to have access. Most of the planning documents are built around the car. We need to change that mentality. We need to, the culture of the car. We just have to have a lot more involvement as it pertains to land use. Mixed use. It's also very important that the neighborhoods, the owners of the development project of the homes that are close to the projects, when they're coming to your area, that they have a say. We see that our city ignores the comments of residents when it comes to development. Let's get the community involved in truly, there is a process to allow community input, but let's listen to the neighbors when there are proposals of industrial or projects that are going to require a lot of transportation coming out of delivery trucks and all that kind of stuff. And we need to adhere to those environmental rules, that there be no impact. And those projects that have an adverse impact on the community should not be approved.
Before we move into the next session, we want to recognize the Youth Council members who helped plan these forums behind the scene. The next two questions were especially important to the young people involved in this process and reflects concern they're hearing from other youth in the community. You'll have 60 seconds to answer this question. If you are elected, what differences will you make in 4 years to make Fresno a place where young people want to stay, where they can envision a future for themselves? Mr. Wildstar, you'll be starting us.
All right. Well, the median age of residents of Fresno is around 33 years of age. Fresno is the 5th largest city in California, so it's growing fast. A lot of younger people are moving here. I'm 44, and I'm the youngest person out of this panel that's actually running for city council. So our city is in need of more younger representation, more youthful energy that's actually going to provide more opportunities for the young people. Instead of these teen takeovers that are happening across the country, being focused more so on violence, why don't we have a teen takeover at a library or at a park? provide more community after-school programs or community services to entertain our youth. And like I said, more green spaces like skate parks could definitely provide that outlet for them.
Mr. Barraza, you'll be answering the same question.
I found that having a lot of experience comes handy in interacting with other agencies and serving the community at City Hall. With my experience, we were successful in bringing an $11 million Southeast Fresno sports complex. We fought for many years, and it's now being built. And guess what? My experience in county government, my experience with nonprofits came very handy. And I also used to work for Fresno County in the area of equal employment opportunity, and I used to review complaints of age discrimination. We have to be very careful that along the way we don't push people to the side and not value that wealth of experience that many folks that have been around a little bit longer have. And I really have, in my own case, having been the older person on the panel, I have found that all that wonderful experience.
Thank you, Mr. Barraza. Thank you. We're going to have to move on. Thank you.
Mr. Vang, you'll be answering the same question.
Thank you. My adult kids are in their early 20s, late 20s, and early 30s. And I, in fact, had these conversations with many of them. How can the city provide opportunities for our younger generations? And one way is to make sure that we attract living wage jobs, that we attract companies that can do business here, not only in Southeast Fresno, but in the city of Fresno, where they can pay a living wage instead of the minimum. For a minimum wage, you're going to need 3 or 4 people to work full time to make a living wage here in the city of Fresno. And so my first and foremost is to attract business to come to Southeast Fresno and to ensure that we invest in our youth. And I make it my forte to visit, to work with the schools day in and day out.
This next question will be for Mr. Barraza. You'll each have 60 seconds to answer. Following recent incidents impacting youth safety at community events and public spaces like Art Hop and River Park, what specific steps would you take to improve safety for young people while preserving a positive and inclusive community environment?
Mr. Barraza. I'll repeat the question. Following recent incidents impacting youth safety at community events and public spaces like Art Hop and River Park, what specific steps would you take to improve safety for young people while preserving a positive and inclusive community environment?
One of the things that we have done at the Parks Commission, we created a Parks Ranger position that is very useful to promote or to reduce crime at the parks. In order to prevent, I think that there have to be some penalties associated with violent behavior at public facilities, and I think that and at times the sponsors of the event also should be fined when those types of unfortunate incidents occur.
Mr. Vang, you'll be having the same question.
Innocent people should not be punished. Business should not be punished. We have over 930 sworn police officers here in the city of Fresno, and we have an additional 400 reserved who can assist them. Visibility is key. We know that functions like RHOP and other functions had to have licensing from the city. And so we know ahead of time the number of participants in that particular event. And so we can plan accordingly to ensure that we have police officers there on the ground to ensure that if I or any one of my 4 adult kids or my 14-year-old goes to these functions, that they are safe and they will return home to me and my wife that night without having to worry about their public safety. And so visibility is very important in these functions.
Mr. Wildstar, you'll be answering the same question.
Thank you. Well, when the stabbing happened at Art Hop last month, I was there actually a few hours just before, and it was very peaceful. I actually ran into a group of young people, high schoolers, who approached me while I was doing interviews on the street, and they were very friendly to me. So one thing that I did notice while I was there was the lack of police presence. There was cars crossing and people crossing, and there wasn't any police there to actually help with that process. So I would support more police patrols during these activities. I would promote more junior police force development so they could actually be provided different tactics of de-escalation. But I would definitely be holding youth forums, youth town halls, so we can speak with our younger people and see exactly what it is that they're desiring from our city.
Thank you, candidates. We'll now move into community-submitted questions collected from audience members earlier this evening. You'll each have 60 seconds to answer these questions. We will probably have time for about 2, maybe 3 questions. So I'll unfortunately, and we have many great questions I'm going through here that were submitted, but we'll try to get through some of them right now. We'll start with this one. Would you support a legal aid fund for immigrant families funded by the city? Why don't we begin with you, Mr. Vang, and then we'll move to Mr. Braza and Mr. Wildstar.
The city has several programs right now regardless of your legal status. One is the eviction protection program, which means that if you are a renter in the city of Fresno and a landlord has taken advantage of you, you can reach out to the city to make sure that your rights are protected. Another program that the city has instituted is to ensure that regardless of what you do, you are protected. Here, I'm glad that I live in a city where I have friends and I have relatives who fall into that category, and they don't have to worry about city resources. And so not only the city has demonstrated that we care about our community regardless of your legal status, we have demonstrated that we care about you, and I will continue to support programs. If you live in the city of Fresno, you need not worry about your legal status. And if we have the means to provide the resources, I will support those means as well.
Thank you. Mr. Braza.
Yes, I would support funding of services, counseling for individuals that need to be counseled in those areas. One of the things, and I would also support the allocation of resources to promote legislation that provides legal access to many workers. I have known of a limited type of program where individuals actually are authorized to be employed here in the United States through federal legislation. Why has there been no more friendly legislation to facilitate the legal documentation for individuals to work here in this country? But obviously, until that problem gets solved and we have a change in administrations at the federal level, I would definitely help and continue to support folks that are not fortunate to have their legal documents.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Wildstar.
Well, I'm very supportive of public-private partnerships. We can partner with some of these companies to provide different resources made available to people of the community without any taxpayer money being used whatsoever. I also would incentivize more nonprofits or other organizations to help provide more services readily available to those in need. There are legal offices that like to provide legal services pro bono, so we should be partnering with those businesses as well. But one thing I do plan on doing once I get elected is to propose that Fresno be declared a constitutional sanctuary. So everyone's constitutional rights will be protected. Whether you're a citizen or not, you are an American. So your constitutional rights will be protected here in Fresno. No money, no resources will be going towards any deportations or anything that will violate that.
Thank you. Next question. Getting child care to working families is expensive. What would you propose that the city do to help? And in parentheses, this person noted that child care costs more than Fresno State tuition. Why don't we begin with you, Mr. Barraza, on this one? Getting child care to working families is expensive. What would you propose that the city do to help? And currently, child care costs more than Fresno State tuition.
One of the things I found out in the programs we have with Subsida, workforce development, that in order to succeed, many families need help with child care services, but also other resources like transportation. And some of that is already available through the social services department. So I think we would actually encourage the county through the social services programs to continue to assist folks in those areas with federal dollars. That will be my first option. And if those funds run out, obviously we then would have to decide what to do. Right now there is a funding deficit of $20 million. Therefore, it's going to be a challenge to expand programs in those areas.
Thank you. Mr. Wildstar, we'll go to you next.
Yes, indeed. Well, my son is 6, so I definitely need to be making sure that as an adult that I have more child care services available to him. One of my favorite places to take him is Kids Park, but there's only one in the city. We should make businesses such as theirs, give them an opportunity, incentivize them for more business development. I actually would like to propose that business licenses be waived for a year to allow these smaller businesses to be in operation. Sometimes when I'm shopping for a private child care service, a lot of them have been put out of business because they simply can't afford to stay in business. They maybe have 1 or 2 children, but without an exorbitant amount of fees that they're having to pay each year just to stay in business, would definitely have them become more readily available.
Thank you. And Councilmember Vang.
To the person who posed that question, I want to say thank you. It reminded me about 30 years ago when my wife and I were both going to college and raising a 3-month-old and a 2-year-old. And then after that, after college, each one of us has to work different shifts. So one of us can stay home to watch our 2 kids at that time. So I understand the struggle that you are going through, or the struggle that you will go through. So I understand that intimately. First and foremost, as a city council member, I will work with the county and with our state and federal representatives to make sure that if there are any programs, any funding, that we have access and we get first crack at those fundings to alleviate the cost, to supplement the cost of child care. Child care, in my opinion, should be, again, like quality of water and air should be a right, and parents should be able to raise their kids and not have to worry about how much they're going to pay for child care.
Thank you, Councilmember. Next, I think we have time for one more question, and we'll go with this one. How do you envision young people getting more civically engaged in their local government? Would you commit to reestablishing the City of Fresno Youth Commission? We'll begin with you, Mr. Vang.
Absolutely. I have 3 high schools in my district, District 5, Roosevelt, Sunnyside, and Sanger West. Again, earlier I mentioned that I make it my effort to go into these schools to attract talent, to allow opportunities for these youth to be engaged, not only at the city level, but the county level. And so if there is any opportunity that my office can provide for the younger generations, the high school students, to have an experience not only at City Hall, but at the county or at the state level, I would do that. And I have interns who work for me. If you are a college student, I have interns who work for me part-time. And so I do believe that we need to invest in the next generation of leaderships. And to do that, you have to be out there, to be visible, to attract them, and to let them know what you're doing. And I have been doing that, to work with our schools, and I've been doing that the last 13 months.
Thank you. Mr. Barraza.
I would definitely support to have an active, I thought it's there, but it's not active. But anyway, the commission, the youth commission. I would support that, but I also want you to know that we've had very good experiences working with the high schools, Roosevelt and Sunnyside. In order to get the park that we now have under construction, a lot of young men, young ladies from Roosevelt and Sunnyside High School would come to help us. We also have cultural arts money through the Measure P program. There could be a lot of activities where maybe murals, maybe other type of projects where our youth gets involved and their ideas get implemented in good programs and projects for the community.
Thank you. Mr. Wildstar.
Well, I think entertaining our youth is definitely imperative. We need to make it more interesting about politics in general, provide more activities to them, maybe have some apprenticeship programs or internships available to our high schoolers and maybe even some middle schoolers to come in and work with a politician for a day just to see what it's like. But there definitely needs to be more investment by this city into civic courses, whether it be through after-school programs or community programs at parks. But our youth need to know how government works. They work for you. Your tax dollars pay their salaries. Your government is not the boss of you. You are the boss of your government. So these are just simple things that our youth should be taught, and I'll be focusing on that.
Thank you, candidates. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for audience questions, but there were a lot of great ones, so I encourage you, if your question did not ask, please maybe feel free to reach out to the candidates directly and ask them your question. We're now going to move into closing statements. Each candidate will have 60 seconds for final remarks, and we'll begin with you, Mr. Barraza. We'll go in alphabetical order.
I want to thank you all for attending this event today. I consider myself the most experienced candidate. As a former director of economic development for Fresno County, a lot of experience in business attraction, retention, and expansion. I have been the CEO of a nonprofit here in our neighborhood, and we operate here in our neighborhood. And we have wanted to address the issues of poverty that we still have in our community. We have a lot of poverty, and our city and our elected person does not have a strategy for how to deal with poverty. And we cannot even get that Southeast Fresno specific plan. And it's been dragging forever and ever. And I believe that as your council member, I will continue to serve as I've done it for most of my life in Southeast Fresno. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Vang.
I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight to participate in this forum, and I want to thank the organizers for putting this forum together for these two districts. There are 20 candidates running for 4 city council positions this year. I am the only incumbent. I'm in there for the last 13 months. I believe I am the hardest working council member. What you saw the last 13 months, you will get the next 4 years out of me. I have a record that I can rely on. I'm not telling people that I can do this or I can do that. I'm asking you to look at what I have done, the activities I have put out, how visibility I am at my office. I put first and foremost constituent service, listening to you, listening to the people in District 5, and I believe that that has been forgotten. I live in District for the last 17 years. I grew up in downtown Fresno. I graduated from McLean, and I came back after college to plant seeds in Southeast Fresno and to raise my families there. So what you got 13 months, you will get the next 4 years from me. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll go to Mr. Wildstar.
Well, as I said before here tonight, Fresno is the 5th largest city in California. It's growing fast, but we need to be growing smarter and more efficiently. In order to do that, we need better leadership. The leadership in Fresno has done all they could do. They have outdated ideas, and they're still trying to operate business as usual. People are sick of that. They want something new. This city council will have new leadership all across the board. You'll have new faces, and with these new representatives, they should be providing you with new ideas. I'm the only candidate thus far tonight that you've heard that has actually presented that and provided that for you. So please, I implore you, vote Wildstar for Fresno City Council District 5 for a new Fresno that you will be much happier to live in.
Thank you to all of our candidates, community partners, volunteers, interpreters, and audience members for participating tonight. This concludes our forum. A special thank you to Butler Church for hosting us and to the coalition organizations that helped make this forum possible. The next forum for District 3 will begin at 7:15 p.m. Most importantly, thank you to the community for staying engaged and informed. Please remember to vote on June 2nd and encourage others to participate in the upcoming election. Have a great and safe evening. Thank you.